Are we there?
Oh, I'm there.
Is Doyle there?
Do we have Ryan? I don't see or hear him.
Doyler. Doyler.
What do I need to do? Do I need to do something?
Where's
Apparently-
Doyler? There's
apparently-
Doyler.
Can you hear me now?
Doyler.
Can you hear me?
Doyler, can you hear me now?
Oh, we're doing this now, are we?
Can you hear me now?
Doyler, can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Okay.
Doyler, Schrammer, Doyler. It's a hockey locker room. Doyler, Schrammer.
What's going on, guys?
Look at that. What is behind you? Is that a jersey? Is it a Magic Johnson? No, that's not a Magic.
O'Neal. It's Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal jersey. I couldn't see the 4.
Yeah, little
All
34. Right. I sold this out of a bathroom at a sports bar back in the day.
What sports bar?
The Sports Cafe, Yonge and St. Clair.
Oh, have you cleaned it?
Yeah, I got it cleaned and mounted.
Did you really?
I could say for that bar, yeah.
Cleaned and mounted. Usually what happens at the Sports Cafe.
Exactly. How are you, brother? It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. How are you?
Good. It's nice
for everybody that doesn't know, Ryan Doyle is the host of The Rush on CFRB 1010 and has agreed to join us today because despite it being allegedly the slowest sports day of the year, lots happened over the last 24 hours and the last 72 hours too. So I really appreciate you doing this. Do you still write for Huffington Post or no? Is that a done deal?
Every now and then when I feel like it, but to be honest with you, this is going to sound awful. They don't pay, so when I'm inspired, then I decide I'm going to.
What do you mean they don't pay? They just said
it's free.
Write for us for free?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the state of media. It's a nice thing to be able to do, but writing's hard, man. Writing takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm finding that. That's why I don't do much of it. I'm big on videos.
A lot easier, right?
Yeah, it's funny, it's the state. Oh, hi, Schrammer. It's the state.
Oh, hi.
It's the state of media now, right? Like you can get. I was talking to somebody and they said they do like 7 or 8 different shows in Canada, radio shows, and each one they do, and some of them are drive shows, like prime time, 4 to 7 in the afternoon, like you, for $25 a show.
For $25, wow. That tells you a lot, man. That tells you a lot. But I mean, if you love it and you're passionate about it, and it's going to get you somewhere, right?
For $25, it's not going to get you many places.
Not getting really out of bed.
You'd have to do 100 shows at 100 different radio stations a day. You'd have to be, and I don't even think there's like 100 radio stations in Canada.
No, there wouldn't be. So you'd have to like double back and do the circuit all over again a few times.
You'd have to be on all day.
Yeah.
Donnie, this is Ryan Doyle. Don is one of our bloggers. Don Schramm, big UFC guy, big NFL guy, and he's got some definite thoughts on what happened today as well. So first, before we get started, let's just thank some of our sponsors. Our friends at X Copper. They get me off. They've been getting me off for years. Also like to thank our friends over at Ed's Fine Imports, where right now what you can do is you can go online at Ed's and get like 30% off the entire store. So it's the best place in the world to get Gitch. It's where I get all my Gitch. I need a special kind of Gitch roller, the one with the big package in the front. Not that I have a big package, but at least there's room to move. That's why I buy like shoes the size too big.
You want to give the oppression.
It's true. And we also want to thank our friends over at Odd Shark. I'm sure you're quite familiar with that organization, Doyler, as someone who doesn't mind placing a wager or two. Now, before we get to the orders of the day, your thoughts on the World Cup.
My thoughts on the World Cup.
Your thoughts on the World Cup, because
you know what? Yeah,
Scallywags going fella.
Yeah, I am. As a matter of fact, I caught a few games at Scallywags up there again at Yonge and St. Clair, where I've done some of my better drinking. But I thought it was a good World Cup. I mean, I really enjoyed it start to finish. I thought the games were a lot of fun. I caught a lot of them down actually in Las Vegas, which was fun. Good environment, great place to hang out and watch a lot of the games. And I thought the final was just amazing. Like, I mean, if you didn't have money on France train wrecking Croatia, you're an idiot. You're an absolute clown. So, I had them minus a goal. I had the over. It was a beautiful thing. And, Croatia got some bragging rights too. I was a little sad about England losing, but again, they got as far as they possibly could. That's some good young talent. And I think that Mbappe kid, I don't know if you guys watched him. The kid from France, he's 19, reminds me a lot of Pele. That kid can just run. I don't remember the last time I saw a soccer player run that fast down the pitch, 72 minutes in, and the kid is still going like stink, and he's still killing it, and he's scoring goals. So I thought there was a lot of good to come out of a soccer tournament that was played in Russia, where everybody had zero expectations of what was going to happen.
Quick question. Are you surprised more people didn't die? Because that was one of the things that because leading up to it, I'm like, listen, this is happening in the most corrupt country in the world. English fans are going to invade that country. The Russians hired like some death mob to like kill a bunch of people and dogs before the whole thing started, just so they could clean the place up. Are you surprised more people didn't get murdered?
I am, but I think they were able to keep the death toll low. And I'm not a conspiracy guy.
Yeah.
But the Russian games were fixed. We can admit this, right? Like, we can all say, now that this is done, those first couple Russia games, because I follow soccer a lot, there is no way they beat Egypt in that second game. They trounced the Saudi Arabians. Who knows? I mean, that was the Human Rights Bowl, right? I mean, such great countries playing one another. But there's no way Russia's team was that good. So I think they fixed it enough to keep the bloodshed lower.
That's
I think that's where that was.
Yeah. Listen, if we pay off other teams to let us beat them, less people will get murdered.
That's exactly it, right? Keep the blood off the soil. Everybody loves waving the flag. It's good stuff.
Let's start with our biggest topics, and obviously today was a huge day. Kawhi Leonard is now a Toronto Raptor, and DeMar DeRozan, the face of the franchise, not arguably, he is the best player to ever put a Raptor jersey on. They gave him as close to a max deal as you can get with him last year. I mean, you're looking at 7 more years of DeMar DeRozan, and they pull off the deal to get Kawhi Leonard, who's a top 3 player in the NBA, is the best two-way player in the NBA, arguably. When LeBron decides he wants to play defense, he's the best two-way player in the league. But the Raptors are finally getting a superstar. I want to get everybody's thoughts. We'll start with Don because he hasn't said shit since we started. So let's go to Don. Don, much maligned by people, very upset that DeMar DeRozan is gone. Give me your thoughts. Is this good or is this bad for the Toronto Raptors? Because there's no guarantee that Kawhi is going to stick around because he's up in a year.
Anyone who is up
here, and he doesn't want to be here. So throw that little mushroom into the soup.
Anyone who is upset about this trade is an idiot. This is a win-win for absolutely everybody. It's a win for DeMar because he's going to one of the best franchises to play for, one of the best coaches in NBA history. It's a win for the Raptors because they're going to blow this team up regardless in the next 2 or 3 years. So why not compete for a finals potentially now? It's a win for Kawhi Leonard because he's going to come. He's going to play for 1 year. He's going to dip the fuck out.
Already. He's not pleased. I want you to keep going. I just want you to know Doyle is dead.
That's okay. I've had Toronto fans pissed off at me all week. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
So it's a win for Kawhi because he's not sticking around for Toronto, but he's going to come to Toronto. He's going to play hard for a year, get us to the finals, hard for a year, because he's playing for a contract for someone else. So it's a win for him. And then it's a win for the San Antonio Spurs because they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with their franchise for the next couple of years. And DeMar's going to fill the seats until they figure that shit out. So I don't understand how anyone's upset with this trade. I think it's great for Toronto. Toronto fans have been hating on me all week, but I think this is a big move for them. I think it's the right move for them. I don't see how anyone loses in this.
Doyler,
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, let's start off with this premise that DeMar, he gets to play for the legendary Greg Popovich, shall we? That 86-year-old homeless-looking man. Did you see him interviewed today? Was he in a garbage bag? I mean, come on. The guy is ancient. I understand this.
And you know what? Does he not look like like he would be the sweatiest, dirtiest? Like, does it not look like if you could pick out a coach's socks from a bag full of socks and go, Jesus Christ, that disgusting sock has to belong to Greg Popovich.
You'd know right away.
Does it not look like he's that guy?
He does, and it was like he was interviewed in an Al-Qaeda training compound today. I don't know where he was. He's got this dark, shadowy area that he's addressing the media. I'm not excited if I'm DeMar DeRozan in that situation. I'm like, oh man, this guy's really old. I want to be modern. I want to be hip. I love Toronto. I get to sit and hang out with Drake. Now I get to hang out at the retirement home in Texas. Oh yeah, that's going to be great. I hope the pudding tastes delicious. So just knock that noise off right away. When it comes to Kawhi Leonard, can we just be honest? I don't know if Kawhi's ever going to put on a Raptors jersey, whether it's his choice or whether it's the team's choice. My thought and my gut is, my hope is that Kawhi Leonard becomes a Los Angeles Laker, and the Raptors actually weren't ever serious about taking Kawhi Leonard. They just wanted to have him, use him as a piece, know that they can offload some young talent from Los Angeles, have them come to Toronto.
Okay, hold on. I have to stop you, and the reason why I got to stop you is that you make technically valid points, but you're a Laker fan, so it really doesn't mean anything. And I want you to listen to me scientifically speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Like let's just put your balls on the table.
Sure.
Let's have see what we're dealing with, and then we'll decide if you're actually man enough to say what you're going to say and mean it. Because, and this is my opinion, because like Schramm in his assessment that Mike Babcock sucks and he's a terrible coach, you feel like you're going to shit on players because you've got a predisposed bias, right? So now speak of it from the perspective of, because this is what I heard today, that he's not, and this wasn't what I heard. It was something I read. It was Wojnarowski, because he dropped one of them Woj bombs.
Yeah.
They talk about Wojnarowski. He said Kawhi is warming up to the concept of being a Raptor. Warming up. And I will fucking take warming up, especially when he had no and probably has no desire to come here.
What does that mean?
None.
What does that mean, warming up? Does that mean somebody's fluffing him in the back right now with, he's got backdrops of the CN Tower and somebody's giving him a hand? I don't know what warming up means.
Listen, if he needed a warmer upper, and it meant that was the difference between Kawhi staying for 5 years and leaving after this year and not giving a shit this year, I would.
I love how the visual.
You know how many problems it would solve if I did that? A lot.
Yeah, I listen. But when he gets here, okay, let's say he's all warmed up and he's ready. I mean, he's on set.
Warm. He's really warm.
He's as hot. He's El Fuego right now. He's still a cancer in the locker room. Is he going to fake an injury halfway through the season because he's too hot? I don't know. I don't know what I get in this
cancer in the locker room because he's not in the locker room yet, though. Like, that's the thing is that, people. Hey, listen, we can say Dwight Howard's a cancer in the locker room because Brendan Haywood said last week he's a cancer in the locker room. And you can say that certain guys are when they earn their reputation. Kawhi Leonard didn't want to be in San Antonio. He got his trade, obviously not to the team that he wanted to play for. But, you look at that lineup now, and he's not I don't think Kawhi Leonard's a stupid person. He knows he's going to get paid. So if he gives her for 1 year with a legitimate shot to get into the NBA Finals against, if he is on this Raptor team, you look up and down. The top 5 guys, you've got Lowry defensively. You've got Danny Green defensively, who's comparable to Kawhi Leonard defensively. He is very, very, very locked down. And he shoots a three. He's not a guy that gets in the paint, but he's a hell of a player. So don't discount that part of the deal too.
Can I just check right? Did the Boston Celtics? I'm just checking my phone right now. Did the Boston Celtics and Philadelphia 76ers get in some sort of air accident where their planes collided? What Eastern Conference final or championship are the two of you talking about right now? Come on.
Well, did you think now? Do they have more? Okay, we'll answer this question. It's just because you shit on the team because the Lakers did not get Kawhi Leonard. Answer this question truly and honestly, 100%.
Yeah.
Do the Raptors have a better chance with a healthy Kawhi Leonard? Do the Raptors have a better chance with a healthy Kawhi Leonard as opposed to DeMar DeRozan of getting to an NBA Finals today than they did yesterday?
Do they have a better
100%.
chance with a healthy DeMar DeRozan? Is that what you're saying?
No, both guys healthy. You switch them out and you do the deal, right? Like you get with Kawhi Leonard on this team minus the DeRozan. Do they have a better chance of going deeper in the playoffs or making an NBA Finals?
100%.
Okay, slightly, and I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that big of a difference to blow up the future of the team.
Points per game is the same. They both average about 25 points per game, and you cannot deny that Kawhi Leonard is a better defender than DeMar DeRozan. Ryan?
No, I can't deny that.
Than DeMar DeRozan.
But I can also not say that, DeMar DeRozan wasn't the problem with the team. Kyle Lowry is the problem with the team. Kyle Lowry should have been traded out of this city a long time ago, and he wasn't. For some reason, we're letting him hang around like a bad fart in the wind. The guy's just kicking around and kicking around and kicking around. He needs to go. He's the problem with the Raptors. I mean, if this was, if this was my decision, you'd have Lowry out, you'd send him to Phoenix, you'd send a few players our way. Van Vliet would be your guard in the spot that Lowry currently occupies. And then we'd build the team around DeRozan, and we wouldn't even be talking about Kawhi Leonard. But somebody has miraculously made a different decision.
Is it a swing for the fences move from Masai? Like, is it him kind of going, okay, listen, we've replaced the coach. Now I've made a move with our roster, and we're arguably a much better team. Is this like one of those Hail Marys he throws for his own job? If this doesn't work, I mean, who do you blame? Is this a home run moment for him, do or die?
What else do you do?
Yeah, I think if you don't do anything else, he's done. He's done.
It's been a stalemate for 5 years. People want to say that it's because we can't beat LeBron, but I don't believe that one bit. I think it's that DeRozan and Lowry rely. Well, I mean, it's part LeBron, but the Cavs really fucking suck.
It's all LeBron. Dude, you can say it's part LeBron. It's all LeBron. Like that. That's what. And that's, you know what? Fuck. Let's look at it from in a different lens now, okay? And I want both your opinions on this. If LeBron doesn't sign with the Lakers, is there like any urgency to get this done?
Zero. Absolutely zero.
No. Yeah, I thought that today. I thought, that's how enormous an asset that LeBron James is. Like he literally went and played in the West just so he could beat heads with these guys. They're instantly a favorite to win the whole thing. And oh, by the way, Toronto just traded the only franchise asset they've ever had.
Yeah, and that's why the rush was on. I mean, you have LeBron in another conference. If you're Masai, you're thinking this might be the only time I ever get this done, so I've got to be dramatic. I've got to make a big move. I just think it was the wrong move with the wrong player. Again, a guy who, what are you going to – like, are Raptors fans really going to cling to Kawhi Leonard, his beautifully warm personality? Because the guy's a bit of a dick. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, he doesn't give the warmest interviews.
Right?
But I don't give a fuck if he's a dick. If he's getting us to the finals, that's all that fucking matters.
Okay. But you do.
And that's where everybody's at, though. That's where everybody's at. That's where I'm at. You know what? Fuck. I hate to see DeMar DeRozan go, but if this gets us to an NBA Finals where anything can happen, and it's not a repeat of last year and the year before and the year before, I'm fucking all in.
Have you guys ever been to
100%.
Toronto before? Have you ever come around the area where the Rogers Center is? We're a very clingy bunch in the city of Toronto. We like nice stories. We like nice people. We're fucking Canadian. So the idea that, it doesn't matter, it might as well be the bad boys of Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer, that's not going to fly here in this city. It's not going to work. You got to market this team too. It's a big part of it.
Well, yeah, but
it'll fly if they win a fucking final.
Market this team. You don't want to have. Tell me you can't put Kawhi Leonard in a make your own website commercial or an Alexa commercial. Dude, if you want, I know about 82 car dealers around here that are happy. Nav Bacha will give him any Hyundai he wants off the lot.
I mean, it worked for Colby Rasmus, right?
I just think, the way I look at it now, the way I perceive, what's happened over the past 5 years, it's not found money anymore. It ain't working. They made some bigs. They made you talk about a statement, and I don't know how you can arrive at it's the wrong player. He's the best player in the NBA that's available, and he's a superstar.
But his attitude is awful. He doesn't want this. He only think about this for a second. Think about walking through your life and saying, I only want to work for one company, and if they won't have me, I'm just going to sit and make a paycheck, but I'm not going to work for the other companies. That's a ridiculous attitude to have. We can all admit that, right?
You should try that on air tomorrow.
It's not going to work. I can tell you. I'd be out the door.
Try that. You and Jay. How's Jay doing, by the way? How's my man
Doing
Jay?
well. Doing really well.
Say hi to him for me, please.
We'll
But you go in there and say, guys, listen, I don't think I'm getting paid what I'm worth, and this isn't really what I want to be doing. So I'm just gonna sit here with the mic on.
Right? I'll be present and I'll show up.
Yeah.
Like, you can take attendance and shit. But other than that, I mean, we'll just wait for this to run out.
Would you throw to traffic though? Like, would you say, here's so and so with traffic? Would you do him that favor?
Yeah, because I like Adra a lot. She's great.
Oh, yeah, I love her too. She's getting married, right?
That's true. That's very true.
I always thought she wanted to marry me. From one to the other, though, like in where we're at now, it's funny because I think about it, and just for shits and giggles, I think about stuff like this. I think, if they lose Kawhi, if he decides indeed didn't want to be here, wants to go to LA, and he doesn't sign, do the Raptors, like, how does a rebuild look? How long does it take? Are we that young and that good that it's not going to take as long? Because that's what's going to happen. I mean, that's the only other alternative here.
Yeah, I think in a situation like this, though, if he doesn't want to play, you immediately find a way to trade this guy. If that wasn't already your plan, you've got to get as many pieces for this team. And again, let's put the Lakers aside. Let's say another suitor comes up and has great young pieces that you can pillage a little bit because they are almost ready to make their own run, whether it's the West, whether it's the East. I think you've got to go after that kind of trade and load up, whether it's 2, 3, 4, maybe a couple of bench players, a couple of starters. The Raptors have decent pieces. They have great youth. They managed in this trade not to get rid of much of it. I mean, Poeltl's, whatever. I could take him or leave him. The draft picks got restrictions on it, which I love. So I think you got to make that trade. You got to figure out a way to unload the guy and do it fast. If his attitude in the next couple of weeks doesn't change, if he doesn't get any warmer, then you got to get rid of him.
Anybody win this deal, Shram?
I think everybody wins. Like I said, I fully believe that.
Because he was a huge bitch about the whole thing. He shut off his Instagram and bitched about there being no loyalty, but he's not going to not enjoy himself.
I'm always fascinated when athletes figure this out, that it's a fucking business. Like, I don't understand. Have you not seen this play out a million fucking times? Of course it's fucking business. You're getting paid tens of millions of dollars to play a fucking kids games. Of course it's fucking business. Like, if you don't perform, you're going to get traded. It's the game. DeMar DeRozan's feelings do not bother me in the least. He needs to man the fuck up.
I did completely disagree. And listen, I'm not a DeMar loyalist by any stretch, but stop pretending that you're going to put out if you're the Toronto Raptors again and again. Nick Nurse was doing interviews a week ago talking about how he's going to work in the offseason with DeMar about, with his defense. You're telling me Nick Nurse didn't know that this trade was imminent? Of course he did. So stop with the pretending that you're going to put out at the end of it all. If you're the Toronto Raptors, be real with the guy, because he was real with you when he could have gone to LA a couple of years ago. Yeah,
but hold it. Listen, there's shit we don't know, right? Like, we're assuming that this has been cooking for 2 weeks, if you think that, because they went and talked to him 2 weeks ago in Vegas, and Masai says, yeah, you know what, you're not getting traded, don't worry about it. And then all of a sudden LeBron leaves 2 weeks ago. Whoa, right? Fuck, now we got to do something. And then you're one of the few teams that has the pieces, which if you're San Antonio, and this is what Mitch, what's his name again? Mitch Lawrence from Forbes, basketball writer for Forbes, said today. He said one of the things that San Antonio's must-haves was a 20-point-per-game guy. So none of the other teams had the pieces. None of the other teams were able to, none of the other teams had the scrote to be able to go, we'll roll the dice for a year and see if we can figure it out, right? Like, I mean, that was the ultimate move. Like, you had the pieces, that's one thing. Can you really justify rolling the dice for this guy? And we've discussed that, so we don't need to fucking hammer away at that anymore. But, I mean, that's really kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about the timing of the whole thing, right? And if the timing of it was such that they said that to him after, then it's a shitty move. But if they said that to him before LeBron left, fuck, relax, man.
But wait a minute. So you don't think for a second, what is it called now? Scotiabank Arena, is that what we're calling it nowadays? You don't think the boardroom in there somewhere had, Demar for Kawhi? There wasn't like a sticky note. There wasn't some sort of conversation about it before LeBron got traded?
I don't know. I started talking about this in April 15th.
That's my point. Yeah, we all knew this was going to happen weeks ago. Did it coincide with the LeBron trade? Yeah, of course it did. But at the same time, or the LeBron signing, of course it did. But at the same time, the Raptors had to know they had a few options. One was dealing Kyle. The other was dealing DeMar. You could have looked at him and said, listen, you're on our board as far as people we might get rid of. Why, you talk about manning up. Why can't you just be honest? If this is business, it's not like he's going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I know. And I guess that's just kind of a wait and see thing, right? Lots of stuff changes within a year. And if they're successful, who knows? Like if they get to an NBA final, and they play in a final against Golden State, and LA doesn't even make it out of the West to get to the final, maybe that changes his mind. I mean, you got a lot of shit that's going to happen this season, right? And so you kind of have to look at it that way. Just some Facebook comments that we're having here. We don't know. Dean knows he has sources right here. Source. NBA is boring as fuck. That's James. Danny Green may be the reason this works. Someone agrees with me. Then Mike says, Ryan's right. Should have shipped DeMar out, Kyle instead of DeMar. Keith says, do you think we're going to have a problem bringing the ball up the floor now? I think that was a problem last year, too. Anyway, that's Ryan Doyle. That is Don Schramm. Ryan from CFRB, 10:10 in Toronto. He does afternoons 3 till, 6, 7?
4 to 7.
Oh, 4 to 7.
You're very close, though.
Right. What are you talking about today? Did you talk about anything weird? Anything cool?
Oh, what did we talk about today? A lot of politics.
Talk about Doug Ford and how much Doug Ford hates everybody already?
No, people think that. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I like him. He's doing all right.
Well, you know what? You want to talk about no bullshit. The guy's no bullshit.
Yeah. He's swinging an axe already, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, 15 years. That's a lot. That's a big tree he's swinging an axe at, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I wanted to get to something. One of the other biggest posts of the week, Ray Emery died, of course, goaltender for the Ottawa Senators, most notably kind of played around and did the circuit. And then Ray Emery was found dead this last week in Hamilton Harbor, went for a swim with some friends, apparently in the morning at a yacht club, and he just never surfaced. So we tweeted the story. I tweeted with the hashtag drugs in it because the post actually had the hashtag. The story had drug use in it because Ray obviously was caught using drugs. He's had a bit of a checkered history that way. There's no inference that drugs played a part in it. But holy shit, did people get mad on social media? Jesus Christ.
So
the hatred was palpable. Even this guy, Toronto Baghead, that everybody loved, called me the C word. Called me the C word. Like, what?
What? Toronto Baghead?
Yeah, some guy named Toronto Baghead. He's just he's a guy with a bag on his head. Yeah, I was upset. Look at the Baghead's mad at me now. I've even pissed off Toronto Baghead. And I clarified it, it's not like that's what I was trying to say. What I was saying was his past is going to be part of the narrative of Emery. Great topic to discuss today because is it proper? Should media, should people like us, blogs, people in podcasts, people that do live streams, should we be talking about the fact that Ray Emery was 35 when he died? In the last 3, 4, 5 years, he's been charged with assaulting his girlfriend, then fiance, with a weapon. He's had pictures of him doing what looks to be cocaine naked in a hotel room, allegedly with hookers in Saskatoon. And it's well noted that Ray Emery, although a terrific goaltender and probably a really, really good dude, struggled with addiction. So I wanted to get your thoughts. We'll start with Ryan. Should his negative history, be involved in remembering the story of Ray Emery?
Yeah, listen, I'm Irish, so we don't leave anything out. I've been to a number of wakes. I've been to a number of funerals where, if the person was a dick, you might get a little bit of a sugar-coated part of the fact that he was a dick, but you still get the general idea, the general premise that he was a dick. If Ray Emery had that in his past,
Do they really call you out at Irish funerals? Do they really do that? Well, they say, "Here lies a dick."
no, but they talk about things openly at the very least at the wake, right? I mean, you might not you wait till the body's in the ground and then you have drinks.
I gotta go to an Irish funeral. It's like an airing of the grievances.
It
Here
really
lies
is.
he fucked me over for $5 once, and I'll never forget it.
You know what? If I had a fucking dollar for every single time I've been to an Irish funeral and somebody says, "Oh, fucking Tommy, he was a great lad, huh?" And then the next person says, "No, he actually owed me fucking $500." I would lose. I'd be rich. I'd be rich. You know, that's what happened.
That great man had sex with my wife.
Yeah, I caught him fucking on the counter. It was fantastic there. It was lovely down at the pub. You know, so I mean, you look at it and you think, okay, well, people are people. We're human. You know, we make errors, we make mistakes. Was Ray Emery perfect? No. Who in this show is perfect? None of us. So at the end of it, yeah, you got to remember some of it. What I don't like is the other end of it, because if you go through some of the Ray Emery headlines, you'd think Mother Teresa had died in Hamilton on the weekend, and that pisses me off, because it's like, well, no, now you're just going the complete opposite way to be politically correct. And I can't stand that. It's almost like you're airbrushing or photoshopping history. So I can't stand that part of it.
Donnie?
I think you've got to involve it. What I found so interesting about all the hate that you were taking on was people were acting like the sad story or the tragic end to the sad story was problematic, when really, like, I look at it more as a positive. You have to add it in, because at the end of the day, somebody else who is struggling with those same demons can look at that story and fix and help themselves because of Ray Emery.
It's not like you're saying that's the reason for the story. You're not saying, you know, Ray Emery because he used to do drugs.
A great man, a great friend, a great family member, but he struggled with his demons. It's a cautionary tale of what can happen, and you use that story now as a positive to learn from. And so when you were getting all that hate, I was just dumbfounded by it. It's just the virtue signaling to the 10th degree, in my opinion.
You know what the best one was? The best one was this dude who sent me a tweet that said, "I wish your kids could watch you drown." And
right.
I'm sure they'll bring that tweet up at his funeral, though.
Yeah, it was a hashtag. I was laughing because it was a fucking hashtag. It was hashtag drugs, because drugs was in the story. Had two links to his story. One was when he was with a hooker doing drugs, and the other one was when he got arrested for allegedly assaulting his ex-fiance with a weapon, right? And so, you know, I'm getting these tweets, and I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'll put it in the story. So I did an entire post on the nature of Twitter and how fucking bizarre and backwards and ironic. I mean, just the irony involved in, hey, listen, this guy died and he drowned, and he had a history of drug use, and then someone's like, oh yeah, well, that you can't bring that shit up. Now I hope your kids watch you drown. And I'm like, well, I certainly disagree with you.
You also look
that
at
would
it.
be horrific for them to watch me drown. Do you know how scarred they'd be? Except for the oldest one, who probably just wants money. But let me tell you something.
The oldest one who's throwing you concrete bricks.
Yes. Here you go, Dad. Hang on to this one. No, my kids would be very upset watching me drown. That is a fact.
Well, and you know, you look at it, and I think it's all, you know, it's all how you moderate and temper things, right? Like Ray Emery was in a hockey tournament for kids the night before. Apparently, he was standing on his head. He was saving all sorts of pucks. People were joking like, "Ray, are you coming back to the NHL? You look great."
By the way, it's just a cigar, but I'm going to smoke while we do this.
It's totally fair.
Keep going.
You know, so you have to say that part. But again, why would you want half your story told? You know, if everything has been out there, everything's been public. Like, I would love to talk about the fact that Ray Emery was one of the best goalies in hockey fights you could ever watch. Like, that one against, I can't remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember when he fought the goalie from the Sabres way back in the day? And then, like,
smiling. Was it Robert Lehner? I think, wasn't it Robert Lehner?
Yeah, because he comes. No, because there's a defenseman who comes in later, and that's when Emery's, like, smiling. The whole thing was phenomenal. Like, you know, when you talk about hockey fights, it was great. It was entertaining. for God's sakes.
Yeah.
We need more people like that.
Yeah, we do. And it, listen, I'm not saying, and you bring up a good point, I'm not saying Ray Emery's, legal and chemical issues, if he had any. I'm not saying that that's the only story that should be told, right? What I'm saying is that we should be talking about all parts of Ray that led to a guy dying when he was 35. Like, and here's the other thing. A buddy of mine, I talked to some people down at the marina who will go not named, by the way. I don't name sources or methods. Okay? Sources or methods. I don't give those up. Just want you to know. But I was talking to someone down at the marina, and
have you ever waterboarded somebody? Is that when you talk about methods?
Sources or methods?
Just testing you, man. Just testing you.
Do you know what I was thinking the other day, though, and this is just a little off topic, how I would love to be a spy. With all this shit going on with Trump, I'm like, fuck, I think I would be an excellent spy. I really do. It's sort of like when I was a kid and I'd watch guys play in the NHL. I'm like, I could probably do that. But now I'm starting to watch so much CNN. I'm like, I would be a tremendous spy.
You realize people are getting, like, poisoned in Great Britain and shit, right?
Yeah, and I'm British, right? So it hurts me double.
You were saying sources, methods in the marina.
Yeah, sources. My sources tell me that he got up. I guess he was up early in the morning, and like a bunch of people were swimming, and Ray jumped in like everybody else did, and Ray was the only person who didn't come up. So there's two working theories now, according to the people down at the marina. One, there's something called marina current electricity. So certain currents can carry electricity from boats. They tell you never to swim in a marina, ever, ever, ever. It's a terrible, terrible fucking idea. And now apparently we know why, which would have given him a heart attack and he would have died. The other is that, he may have hit his head and it was an accident. And then you have to say, why, right? When we don't know why, and we can't assume it's drug use. And that's my point. But boy, oh boy, fucker, people touchy or what these days? It is unbelievable.
Yeah, everybody needs to take a step back. I mean, stop being so touchy, stop being so sensitive. Tell a well-rounded picture of somebody when they go. When they pass, keep the good, the bad, be considerate about it, but don't sanitize it completely. It's absolutely ridiculous to do something like that.
Quick question before we start to wrap this up, fellas.
Done already? What the hell?
Well, dude, podcasts aren't supposed to be like fucking 12 hours long. That's a mistake when people make these. Is they do like 12-hour-long podcasts, and you're like, Jesus Christ, will it end already? It's like Mark Maron.
He's still talking.
Yeah, to no one, which I'll never do.
His crew is left.
To me, podcasting by yourself or doing a live stream by yourself is like beatboxing by yourself in your bedroom. Just don't. I'm embarrassed to do it, so I'll never do it on my own, which is why I've roped you two stooges into doing this. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
But I wanted
Appreciate having it.
Yeah, thank you. I want to bring this up because it's something I think about more than I should. And it's a little more on the serious side because, we talk about equality. We talk about the pay gap between men and women. We talk about looking at people as people, not a different sex, different race, different religion. And I just want to focus on the men and the women while we're talking about this because it still to this day blows my mind that there's such a double standard in the bathroom. The reason why is if all things are equal and no one should hold the door open for anybody anymore, this is just what I'm hearing on the street, then are we still beholden to, and you obviously both live with women, correct? Am I correct in assuming you both?
Correct.
Are we still beholden to put the seat down when we're finished? I'm talking, this is big picture stuff, fellas. Like, this is big picture shit. Like, we're talking about defining how we move forward as a bathroom society. And I'm being sort of serious.
All right, let me say this, because we've got, like, you've been to the radio studios, because you and I have worked together on radio before.
Yes, we have. Yes,
but on our floor, there are two single bathrooms, so one male, one female. And when the men's one is occupied,
yeah, go ahead.
Typically what happens is the men will use the women's room. And I've done that before, and multiple times I've thought, okay,
whoa. So how many stalls are in there?
There's no stalls. It's just a straight up bathroom.
Oh, it's like a single, like a powder room you'd find in your home.
Yeah, so you got a sink and a can, and that's it.
Yeah.
And if the men's one is occupied and you got to go because it's radio. Sure. You only got a couple of minutes. So I've used the women's one before, and I don't think any women have a problem until I leave the seat up, and then it's like it's a complete rage. So just out of that courtesy, because I'm tired of getting in shit for it at work, that is, you have to. It's not, you can't even think about it anymore. You just do it.
So do you not find that to be a wholly double standard then on their behalf? Because, like I firmly believe a woman should be paid the exact same amount for a job as a man should be paid for. I believe if all things are being equal, you pick the best person for the best job. I've always thought that. I don't care what they have between them legs or on that chest. What I care about is, are you the best person for the job? If I'm hiring somebody, that's what I'm thinking. Even in radio, even for this stuff, we're going to have lots of women on this podcast because there's a lot of women out there that are far more qualified than me to be doing this whole live stream stuff. So having then bestowed upon you guys the importance of women in my life, I really believe if we're all going to try to decide to make things as equal and as level as we can, Donnie, I really believe that it's their job to put the whole thing back up right after they're done. Right up there. Like, and I'm being serious. It's not.
Have you ever wet your ass, though, in a toilet? I know that's a personal question, Dean, but have you ever wet your ass in a toilet?
Have I wet my ass in the toilet?
I mean, this is the whole reason.
Whoa. What do you mean? I don't define wet my ass in the toilet. I don't know what that means.
Like you're casually trying to make some sort of makeshift bidet. I'm talking about like you went full plunge in because the toilet seat was up in the dark.
Not since I quit drinking.
That's fair. So it has happened.
Yeah,
that is
when I was like wasted and I was like 21. But like that's not the point. My point is this: is that it's if they're going to get so mad. My girlfriend gets so angry about that toilet seat. It's like I moved into that stage of your life where walking the dog is a big thing at night, and the toilet seat has to go fucking down, Dean. Has to go down.
Because you've never baptized your own ass in male adulthood. That's the problem. 21-year-old doesn't count.
Think of it this way. If you had to sit down every single time, if you had to sit down every time you went to the washroom, at some point you are going to forget to look and you are going to sit right into that fucking puddle of probably urinated shit.
Yeah. Well, that's underneath it. It's a pretty clean thing. The toilets are pretty clean, especially in the house. But listen, that's
you're not going to run upstairs right now and sit in the water just because it's clean. That's not something you're doing right. Don't pretend that's something you're doing right now, bro. I know you. That's not something you're doing right now.
That's called the Manitoba. You know what that's called? That's called the Manitoba Whirlpool. Oh, woo! It's like I call hot dogs Winnipeg tacos. Anyway, it bothers me to this day. To this day, I think if we're gonna really level the playing field, let's start in the washroom.
You know what I will say, and here's where I'm putting it off limits completely. I've been to a couple of country shows the last little while. I went to see the Luke Bryant and a couple of other shows.
Is it Luke Bryant or Brian?
I'm not sure. I put the T on there.
Are you happy you went?
Brian.
Is it Brian?
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian.
No T on the end.
Yeah, well, you went. Yeah, you would know.
What I'm going to say, though, is there's no going to the men's washroom when you're at a show.
Yeah.
That's got to be off limits. Like that's where I would agree with you, where it's like, unless you don't agree with it.
What do you mean there's no like women can't use the men's bath? I don't understand.
No, because there were women everywhere.
Yeah,
and I've got like, 19,
how many times I've been at Maple Leaf Gardens? What's it called now? Scotiabank Center, ACC. I'm like 2 arenas behind. I've been to the Scotiabank Center, and a woman has been taking a piss in the sink or the Sky Dome or the exhibition, like that's
Budweiser stage. A lot of the time it happens there.
And if we went in those bathrooms, I'll tell you what would happen: immediate arrest.
Yeah,
and probably they'd check my iPhone. Okay, fellas, at the end of the week, this is obviously our second one. Again, Ryan Doyle from CFRB. 10-10. He does 4 till 7.
That's correct. You got it, man.
There you go. He's still 4 to 7. And a good buddy of mine, so he's agreed to help us out today. And Don Schramm, Donnie, of course, from DeanBlundell.com. Performers of the week, Donnie. Let's start with you. Performers of the week.
Performers of the week. I think it's got to be Messiah Jarababa, however you pronounce his name. I think.
No, not Jarababa. It's not Jarababa. It's
Geronimo.
No.
Messiah Geronimo.
No.
I think he's my performer of the week. I think it's amazing. I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think anyone who's mad about this trade can take a hike, hit bricks. He's my MVP this season because the Raptors are going to go to the finals and everything's going to be they're going to actually lose to the Lakers.
No, they're not.
Well, I'd love that. I mean, that would be great, but he's in dreamland, so I can't even follow him down that logic path.
Golden State got boogie.
I don't think the Lakers are done getting. I don't think the Lakers are done yet, and I think LeBron's good. So
there's no one left. There's no one left. That I will disagree. There's no one left to get. There's no guess.
Just Kawhi. That's it.
That was it. And Danny Green got into performance of the week or performer of the week, please.
For me, I'm going to go way off the beaten path. This is the sports story that everybody would be talking about normally this week. It's the All-Star Game. It's the MLB. It's Major League Baseball. My performer of the week, my MVP, Kyle Schwarber. Not the guy who won the home run derby, but the guy who beat G.I. or almost beat G.I. Joe, Bryce Harper, at his own game, because it was a beautiful thing to watch. I don't know if you guys watched it. Whoever changed the format of this thing is a genius. It was a great home run derby. But awesome. Schwarber was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to challenge everybody, and I'm going to man up, and I'm going to put my stuff on the table and say, let's do this thing. He was trash-talking other people in the home run derby and getting them motivated, and I love that shit. I love that he's fat. I love that he's a little overweight, and I love that he can hit jacks like nobody's business. And then you got Bryce Harper with the G.I. Joe headband and the America bat. I'm like, enough of you, buddy. I want the guy who's eating pizza while he's hitting jacks, and that's Kyle Schwarber, and I love that fucking guy. If that guy could be a Blue Jay, he would have my utmost respect. I'd buy season tickets. So Schwarber it is. He nailed it this week. Nailed it this week for me. Take off your headband, Bryce Harper. Take it off.
Yeah, you know what?
I think we lost Dean.
Yeah, I didn't consider Kyle Schwarber.
I think the show is just me and you now, Ryan.
What? He's right there.
I think it is. I'm out. I'm finished.
Can you see him?
I can. Yeah.
Dude, can you see me?
Yeah. Oh, this is awkward. Oh. Maybe.
Oh, you can see me. You can see me. You can see me.
Hear him?
My performance of the week is whoever's running.
Can you hear him?
Yeah. Yeah, I can. Is this a plan? Is this just like something?
Drop Donnie out. Shit
Donnie is going so
Donnie's
wrong for me right now.
Donnie's up. It's just you, Ryan. You got rid of Donnie.
Jury stuff is what happened there.
Yeah, he's I like his take. I love
this. Feels like our late night phone calls, by the way.
Yeah, they're fun. What are you drinking, by the way?
I got a little Tito's.
Tito's and?
Just soda.
Tito's and soda? Did you put anything else in it?
Small amount of lime. That's it.
How much soda? Small amount of soda.
Small, just as much as the lime.
Hey, listen, buddy. I really appreciate you doing this.
Hey, anytime, man.
We'll catch up soon. Again, tomorrow I'll be listening 4 till 7, all 4 hours.
Have me back in all 4. Your math is stellar. Stellar.
Did it on purpose. Yeah, dude, don't worry. You'll be back. Our roster's thin.
I'd love to come back anytime, man.
Okay, pal. Take care.
All right, you too.
Thanks. Bye.